Oh, yeah. Oh, this meeting is being live streamed.
Cool.
Hide the women and children. I'm so grateful that you had me on, by the way.
My
I
pleasure.
really like my soul just possessed me. It was like, that's enough of this shit. Like, let's talk about the real disclosure. You know, that's just my own, my, what do you call it? My own programs or resistance or whatever. And I'm not throwing shade at anybody. Are we live?
Yeah.
Are we live? Oh, we're live. Denise, I'm gonna go in and share it out. How's that?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. I really do. I really want to. Yeah, I don't know. Just you
Well,
know.
it's not often that you put a note out like that. So,
Mm.
and I had a little
Well,
squint and thought, yeah, the
the
guidance is to do it.
well, the funny thing is I think I don't know how many comments I got, but comments and messages and emails, right? Say I got 30. 22 of them were people that read it and
Wanting to
thought
come
that
on.
I was wanting them to come on the show, which is great. That's great. I mean, and I got a bunch of new names, new people. But it just made me realize, and not about that particular instance, but just how perception is reality,
Hmm.
you know? And I thought, yeah, that's still there. And we've always got to remember that. We call ourselves empaths. And, are you really able to, how do I do this? Oh, um, yeah, are you really able to put yourself in someone else's shoes? Like, I didn't get upset or anything. I was just like, oh, wait a minute. And then a couple of people were like, maybe if you change the wording, and I didn't even say anything. They looked at it and saw what was happening. Maybe if you change the wording to this and this, and I'm like, I'm not changing anything because it is what it is, right? But yeah, I was like, okay, so when somebody says something to us, I think maybe we're getting to the point of intelligence where we can actually uh, step out of our own, you know, uh, I don't know, our own vision and say maybe let's be open to that they're not hearing what I'm actually saying.
Mm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're hearing what they're hearing, and I'm saying what I'm saying, and that's if you think about arguments and debates and stuff, it's like that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're not listening to me, So yeah, okay. Are we ready?
We're on. Um, yeah, people are starting to join.
Mm.
So I haven't done many Love Speaks Love over the last couple of years. But I still like to start it the way that I was starting it, with a little just getting into our heart space. Um,
Mm.
so if anyone who's watching wants to do this, if you're in a suitable place to do it, not if you're driving a car or operating heavy machinery. Um, but I invite us to just bring our awareness to our heart space in the center of our chest, and just feeling my heart connecting with yours, Todd, and connecting with all the
Mm.
people that are watching either now or later on the replay. And just feeling all the energy from our heart, feeling all the love moving around our bodies, and just connecting with the heart of the earth, first of all, with the heart of the sun, with the cosmic heart, and asking that we may be guided in our words and our actions through our heart. Is there anything you want to add, Todd, or should we?
Uh, um, yeah, I think this is a great way to start it, and I feel like that the feeling is so key now, and the heart obviously is the steering wheel. Yeah, so I think it's a great reminder. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I don't want to open my eyes now. Oof. Okay, here we are, back. So, here we are, however many years later. Where are you at the moment? What's been happening?
I'm in Boulder, Colorado. Oh, I was kind of trying to keep that a secret. But I'm in Colorado. I've been in Colorado. Well, I left Mexico. I was in Mexico for 20 months. The last 10 months I was by myself. And we all know that 2020, what was that? 20, what year was that? 2024 summer to till March of 2026. Uh, yeah, and I had these, that, what was a eclipse corridor, February something, and then it was the second bookend was March the 3rd. It was a blood eclipse. And I was just down there serving, communing every night at the beach, and listening to the mother. I had a lot of experiences. I talked about it some on shows. Uh, had this whole education and download and conversation with Sirius, Orion's Belt, Aldebaran, Pleiades, and a couple other ones that popped in and out during that time. It was over several weeks. I literally would go to the beach every night and they started talking to me. Then all these animals started talking to me, and I thought something's going on, and I told the mother, like, okay, just tell me what to do. I want to serve. I want to serve. Anyway, on March the 3rd with that blood eclipse, I had 15 grand mal seizures in 10 hours in my apartment. And I had three out of bodies that night. And, and I got all this information, like just, you know. So I spent about 4 days on my back just trying to recover, drinking soup and eating rice and water. And then I heard, you're going to the mountains. And I'm like, oh, am I going to go to the mountains in Mexico, or am I going to the mountains in the United States? Because I mean, I'll do whatever you want me to do, but man, it's been a hard road. I've been living by the seat of my pants for years, and I hope it's not Mexico. But if you want me to go to Mexico, I'll go. I'll go in the mountains of Mexico. Um, and so they're like, no, you're going to get it by the 15th, we'll tell you. So the 14th rolls around in the evening. I'm at the beach and like, oh, you're going to the United States. So I left there, and then I went to Houston for, I don't know, maybe about a month. And I was told you're going to leave on May the 20th and you're going to head north. So I kept pulling up the Google Earth, the Google map. And I kept looking at, as I was guided, I kept looking at the four corners. And I was being shown or remembering all the travels I'd had. And I covered this area and that area, and it kept zooming in on Colorado. And, and I just, for some reason, knew that I was going to go to Santa Fe. I thought I was going to come at the end, like make a big circle around Colorado, and then at the end come down Santa Fe South, and come down through Santa Fe. And so what happened was I was kind of preparing for that, and then I received a phone call from my most beloved sacred sister, and I answered the call. It was April 24th, and I got a call in the morning, and I was there by 11 o'clock at night. And so, you know how the universe works. I've been on this incredible, epic journey with my sister. And we started in Santa Fe. We were there a few days. We spent some time with a Sology friend. And so then we decide we're going to go into Colorado. And so as we cross the state line in Colorado, uh, she says to me, uh, have you been feeling Franco? And I said, yeah, about 2 minutes ago. And then I just started crying. And so yeah, we went to these hot springs in the San Luis Valley, which is a valley that runs 150 miles from northern New Mexico into central Colorado area. Very close to this beautiful place called Crestone, where we were a couple of weeks ago. We went back over there and we got to meet in person Drew Banky uh, and his beautiful family. I see him in the crowd. Uh, and so, very powerful area. I spent 2 or 3 days there, had some massive transmissions. Then we went and stayed on a river for a week and had a bunch of animal encounters, including a moose that came within about 5 feet of my sister that was delivering medicine and messages. And like I said, since Mexico, I've been hearing the animals, and the moose was kind of an emissary for the mother and said to me, "It's okay now. It's over." Like we're good, kind of thing. And that was about a month ago or so. Anyway, then we came up into the northern part of Colorado, and we've been here. Um, and my plan has been through the guidance to just be here in Colorado um, through the end of September. Uh, that's kind of what I know about it. So that's where I'm at and why I'm here.
There's so many there's there's so many places that I could go through um, with what you've shared there. I think the first place I want to go, I'm curious. So you said you had 15 grand miles in 10 hours, was it? Because you had a long
Yeah,
period where you didn't have any for years, if I remember rightly.
yeah.
When do
14
you,
years.
wow. So when
Hmm.
when one starts, how do you know? Do you have a feeling in your body when it starts, or like just
Yeah.
before it starts?
No, you have you have well, it's and just to be clear, like I had 200 of them from 15 years old to 50 years old. And I actually had one in 20 let's see, this is what what year is this? I
2020,
had one like 3 years ago,
right?
but it was a very light one, but it wasn't out of body. It wasn't out of body. So I really had one about 12 years. So I would have been about, I'm 64. Yeah, I'd have been about 62, but it was kind of an aberration. But it really wasn't, I guess. I shouldn't say that. But anyway, yeah, the way it feels is, for me anyway, it starts with nausea and and then this kind of equilibrium thing. And then, and by the way, I've never gone to a doctor for this at all in my whole life. For some reason, I just never did. People said you might be diabetic or da da da. I just knew it was something that, you know, that I just didn't need to do that. So what happens though, I do know when they're coming, and and I've always had, and because of the frequency of them, I'd have about six a year, I would say on average. And so there was this impending fear because I don't know why, but I know it was from before this lifetime. I just didn't have all the information. So as time's gone on and I've tapped into it, I've learned more and more about it. But essentially what happens is um, I try to lay on the ground, uh, preferably a cold tile floor,
Mhm.
and just try to like survive it. And I've had this happen everywhere. I mean, in the middle of the forest and, my bathroom and cars. I mean, um, and the first time I ever had one that I recall, I was 15 and I have been shown I had them before that. But I I lost everything, I lost my bowels, I urinated, I vomited all at the same time. It was like a coming out party. I think at this point it was probably a walk-in, one of several. But but so yeah, it's kind of uh it's kind of scary. because what happens is everything goes black. It's like going into the void. If you've ever had that experience where it's
Yeah.
just the blackness and you're like, what the hell's going on? But uh and then I leave my body. And so the recollection of leaving the body and where I went and what happened was a lot like dreams that you forget, except for three.
Yeah.
The one I had at 37, uh, which was a really prolific one, which was shown to me during this series of seizures. That was a walk-in. That was actually an exit point for me. That I had achieved everything I had planned to do, and then I
Mhm.
signed up for another, tour of duty. So, but and then I had one, the one I had at 62 that I said was kind of an aberration. I had an out of body there, and I saw some stuff that was happening collectively. And then in Mexico with those, which was really strange. And your question is much easier for me to explain now because of the 15 seizures in 10 hours. Because it was what was crazy about it was I knew that this was it. I knew that I would, there was some kind of fear, but it's more than fear, almost uh, like a natural reaction, like a conditioning, like a programming, like say you walk in the door and you beat the dog every time you walk in the door. So when you walk in the door, the dog's in the corner like that, knowing what's coming. So
Mhm.
it was like that. So your question for me is much more than a physical thing. It's an energetic thing.
Mhm.
It's a lot of things. It's like I was shown I was shown both the benevolent side and the not so nice side of these seizures, almost like a time travel, time altering thing for my own personal, I guess, memory and recollection and consciousness. And but this series taught me, like I knew this is it. You're either gonna leave the world or you're going to stay and you're never going to have another one of these again. And I knew this, right? And so yeah, I went into the void. Um that there were three out of body experiences that I had during that night. Once I was at the ceiling looking down at myself. Once I was above the roof line looking out over the town and saying to the whatever I was saying, well, am I coming or going? Which one's it going to be? And then the other one was really more of the void. It was just the blackness hanging in suspended in the air, no, nothing there, no sounds, where I had been before, both in lucid dreams, in dimensional experiences, and of course this situation. Now the difference here, what I was getting at is my human being was conscious the whole time. Like my human being who normally would freak out and hyperventilate when I feel a seizure coming on, I was having these happen one or two every hour. And I would walk from the bathroom to the bed, and I knew this was going to continue until I got it all out. I tried to throw up. I stuck my finger down my throat. I couldn't throw anything up. And I just kept, I'm not going to say getting words, but a lot of pieces came together, and I knew it was very important for me. And I knew it was a very important marker for humanity. Like there was something that on that second blood moon, the 3rd of March, that marked something big. And so in the following days, I started to get the intel. And of course, we're talking about one person or a man that's, hanging out with his sister and doing the work like we all are doing and running into other people and connecting and of course the land and everything. But yeah, there's something that for me, it's like they said, the window's been open. You're, your style, you're the first one through it, and you're going to get all the tough stuff out of the way up front because we've got work for you. And then so ultimately that turned into you're going into the mountains. Uh, The shadows have nowhere else to hide. They're going back to the original infrastructure of a physical nature that they created when they came in, you might say. And so that to me, they say you're going to go into the mountains, you're going into the belly of the beast, go in with an open heart, and you'll be met with others who will have their hearts open. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to go in there and fight them. You don't have to do anything. You just show up in this geographical areas that you're guided to go, which are going to be mountainous, and you're just basically there to be the tuning fork, you know, and whoever's around you is doing the same thing. So yeah, to me, it's and then I was told that June, July, and August were, I don't know how to describe it. I would say the final burn or the final purging, but that doesn't do it justice. It's just more of I think the final, well, like the windows open, uh, our ability to cross the bridge, so to speak, and to really actualize our multidimensionality in a more than sustainable and expansive way, individually and together, accentuating the word together, co-creation, collaboration, is on. And then I was guided to put a festival together like no other that I've done, and it would be September 25th, 26th, and 27th, and it would be in or around um, the Gardens of the Gods, Cripple Creek, where Tesla's place was. Uh, and so I'm working on that. In fact, I'm going to go tomorrow and see if I can. And I'm not saying this is going to happen. I mean, this is what I've been guided to do. Most of the places that I checked, they didn't have the capability to accommodate us. But I did find this really cool place, and I'm going to go tomorrow and check it out and try to seal the deal. Everything looks pretty good right now. Um, but yeah, more on that later if it even happens. So that's kind of what's been going on. But I feel like it's from what I picked up from other people on the show and just interacting occasionally. I feel a lot of people are feeling the same thing I'm feeling. You know, like September is going to be it. I mean, and I'm not saying for the whole world, and maybe it is, but certainly a group of us where our natural nature, our innate abilities as souls, uh, not only are we conducting our life and experiencing our life from, you know, from the eyes of the soul, from the heart, but we're also turning on these things that they call psychic abilities and paranormal and, you know, and all that stuff, right? Which is part of the reason I wanted to get out on other people's shows.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, wow. Before I go anywhere else, your voice is a bit crackly sometimes. I can still hear you okay. And I was just trying to work out if it's
Yeah,
me.
yours is too. Yours is too. I was, huh?
Is it?
Yeah,
Um,
I thought it was you. Yeah.
oh, that's interesting.
Uh,
If
yeah, it is.
if
Hmm.
anyone in the comments can just to me it's okay. I can still hear every word that you're saying.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
there's just like a
this actually happened. This actually happened to me the other day. I did a group Zoom with somebody. So I quit using Zoom. Uh, see, now I don't hear it with me now. But anyway, it happened, and I thought, is this my system? And then I figured out it wasn't. You know, but I don't know. As long as you can hear me, I can hear you.
yeah, that seems okay. It's almost like it's almost breaking up when it gets to a certain level. Um,
Hmm. Test,
yeah.
test.
Anyway, it
Oh, they're saying it's me. That you're good. Okay, let's try that. I don't know what happened, but anyway,
that
can
seems
you
all
hear
right
me?
now. Oh, it's still just
Oh,
coming
okay.
through. Just a little bit of
Yeah.
distortion.
All right. Well, Candace Co says we both sound clear. There is a bit of a crackle, and yet it's still quite clear. Okay.
Yeah, I can still
All
understand
right.
everything. Um, yeah, again, so many avenues that I could go down from there. So that was the full moon, the 3-3 as well, and that's one of your. Is that one of your numbers, or is it more 7-7? But yeah, an interesting,
What's that?
interesting. You said it was on the 3rd of March. I think was that the
Yeah.
eclipse? Yeah, so a 3-3. Um, you mentioned Franco, and I think I'm gonna swing back to that because I just want to touch on what you were saying about the animals and the telepathy because it's that's interesting for me because I really, really want to be more fluent in telepathy with animals. And I've been spending time with some horses, which kind of came about very synchronistically. Um, yeah, so that I find that very fascinating. That clearly that's not just me that wants to kind of tune in on that level a bit more. Um, and the messages definitely seem to be clearer, whether that's with animals, whether it's with trees, whatever it is. Um, yeah, and I'm curious with people watching as well. Are you finding that too? That the because we've been saying this for a long time that everything just seems to be being turned up, like the volume just seems to be being turned up on everything, and maybe that's what's indicative of what's going on with your sound as well. Um, but yeah, I'm just curious with people watching as well if you're finding that it just feels like it's all being fine tuned a lot more. So you also mentioned Franco. Was there more to say on that?
Um, did I fix it?
That seems
Oh,
good, actually.
well, okay. Um, yeah. Well, I think it's really the answer involves both things you just said, Franco and everything getting turned up, i.e., animals, what we call animals. The fact that you're bringing up a horse, and when I went to your page and I saw, did that clear it, by the way?
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
that
that was
clear it?
right. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I I just figured out what it was. How weird. Um, yeah, because horses have been huge. They've been absolutely huge. So there is some type of connection there. So Franco, like Franco has come in, especially after he transitioned in 21, he came in a lot. And the interesting thing is he didn't come a lot to Kimberly, his partner. And then right before I left Mexico, I called her and I hadn't talked to her in about 6 months, and he'd been coming to her a lot in dreams. And I mean like 3 times a week, for several weeks. And it wasn't going to stop. And he was basically speaking to her about her role or her piece of the puzzle. But in order to connect what you're asking and to connect it all together, it's really speaking to what is happening collectively. So he was basically saying, this is this is where you're going to go. This is how you're going to serve, so to speak. You already know this. Don't worry about how it happens. It's just going to happen for you. And sure enough, she had these things happen, and it's happening for her. And I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't think she'd mind, but yeah, she's putting together something that's communal and retreat oriented and service oriented from a spiritual sense. So then there would be times he would pop in while I was in Mexico because I went through a lot of. I was like I said, I was there by myself for the last 10 months, and uh, it was a solo journey. It was me and the mother every day and every night, and I was doing shows. I was doing that, but it was kind of not routine, but that was my routine, right? So I'd go to the beach at night, and sometimes he'd pop in, sometimes occasionally, but it was nothing very frequent. And so anyway, horses. So it started with these, and I've never been an animal whisperer. I wouldn't consider myself an animal whisperer. I can non-verbally connect with animals, but also trees and all that stuff. So, that's nothing new to me. But I'm sitting on the beach in February. It started February 7th. Um, I lost my phone and I immediately heard, "You're not getting it back." In Mexico, I couldn't get back my old account anyway because I was in the country illegally and I couldn't provide a passport and so on and so on. So I just went without a phone, which was really cool. So then I think it was that very night, I show up at the beach and this big white bird stepped right in front of me and just started staring at me. And this bird would come back for 12 consecutive nights. And I kept like going, because I'm not used to anything else. I'm just like, okay, we're one, and then the seventh or eighth night, I'm going, hey, do I know you? Like, oh, you're a masculine, and I know you from a past life, and now I'm in my head because yeah, I'm intuitively I'm there, but also my insecurities are coming on board. I'm starting to create a story. Is this real? Is it not real? So I think it was the 12th night, 11th or 12th night, he came in and I swear he would be about maybe 15 yards in front of me, right? Standing in front of the shoreline. And I'm sitting on this place this sacred spot. That's a whole other story because Merlin was involved. And I came one night and it's just appeared. I'm like, how the hell did somebody build this? And it never moved, it never changed the whole time I was there. It was like a little circular mound of rocks. They just appeared one night. So anyway, so the bird is looking at me and I said, look, are you going to talk to me or something? I'm missing something here. And the bird just looks at me and I don't hear anything. And I said, am I supposed to just be here in stillness and silence and just look at you and be with you? And then I'm picking up whatever I need to pick up and vice versa. And all of a sudden he starts flapping his wings up like this, like you can almost hear his glee. And then he takes off in the air and swings in front of me. And so there was that. And then there was these two twin dogs that came out of nowhere. There was no owner, nothing. I'm in the beach, this little part of the beach where nobody comes out, maybe one or two people, at night. And I'm actually standing at the shore and I'm just doing my thing, connecting to the cosmos, connecting to Mother Earth, being with the amniotic fluid of the ocean and the salt. I'm just doing my thing. And the next thing I know, these two dogs walk up to me and they looked identical. And one sat on one side of me and one sat on the other side of me. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? So they had a message. And then the funny thing about that night, because the bird had come that night too, I said, if I have one more, that something's going on, I'm not fully getting it. But if one more white animal shows up, this is just, that there's no denying it. Just go with it, which I usually do anyway. But so that I sat down on the log. Next thing I know, I heard this noise. I looked to my left, and there's this cowboy on this white horse walking by. So I had already had a couple of horse encounters. There was a stable near my house, and I had three different encounters. There's a brown horse and a white horse, and I think it was that white horse. And and so that's the first time I felt him, their hearts, and then I heard them. And so that kind of started it, right? And so fast forward, and all of a sudden, all these horse people start coming around. I'm talking about people that have devout connections of, I would even say, a twin nature with particular horses. One of them is my sacred beloved sister, who had a sacred connection with a horse for almost 20 years. So I'm having these horse things coming in and out, kind of like signals and signposts. And then I met several other people, and then, oh, I'm into horses. I'm into horse. They all had these special relationships. And then even like 3 nights ago, I ran across this guy, and I'm following him now, and he talks a lot about horses. And he says that horses, dogs, and cats are the most intelligent beings on the planet from a connected, heart-based, and that the horses are the most prominent. So horses, I saw it on your page. There's something going on with that. I don't know what it is. Animals, I don't know what it is, but the animals told me on the beach, we're very excited that you guys are here now. And we're very excited that that we'll start to be able to connect with each other. Uh, and for some reason, the horses are a big standout. Franco, um, same thing. Like he's telling Kimberly, this is turning on now. He shows up as because you know how it is, Denise. You get these orders and the guidance, and you go do this and you go do that, and you're over there going, "What the hell am I doing? Am I crazy?" Like, am I, making up stories in my head? And then boom, he pops in. I start crying. My sister's looking at me like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And I pull up at this hot springs place that we were going to stay at. I was in a yurt, and she stayed in her caravan. And I'm looking at these mountains, and I've never seen them before. They're the Cristo Sangre de Cristo Mountains, which is the blood of Christ in the San Luis Valley. And the San Luis Valley is called by the indigenous the Bloodless Valley. They would not fight in that valley. It's one of the most mysterious places in wherever. Right? I've been to a lot of spiritual places, places known and unknown. I've had many spiritual experiences. I've been in that valley at that in a yurt for 4 nights, 2 nights at the beginning and 2 nights about 10 days ago. Uh, the most powerful place I've ever felt, and I know I'm going to go back. Um, I'm talking. I can't even start to tell you. I don't have words for it, but I know, and it's probably has something to do with my soul and my past and, my role. But yeah, extremely powerful place right next. Well, part of it is Creststone, which has 22 spiritual centers. Now, this is a place that had 1,500 people less than 10 years ago and has about 5,000 now. 22 spiritual centers, monks, nuns, Hindu, psychedelic, very close knit, kind of like a Sedona before it went commercial. Like people talk about Sedona and they're like, yeah, I remember when they had one street light. Yeah, like back then, like they're legit. And I saw some things while I was there, but nothing I can really speak about because I don't even know what the hell it was. I just know it. It's I don't know how to explain it, but I had these visions. We went out there 2 weeks ago, right? I had these visions the previous 2 nights. We didn't have plans to go there, and I had the visions of these looking at these mountains, and it was dark, and they're like calling me. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, some things happened and we had a conversation in the kitchen. We're like, oh, let's just go tomorrow. And I hadn't even said anything about the visions or nothing. It just worked out that way. And so we get over there, and in my visions, I'm like, naked, and it's pitch dark, and I'm out on the land and just walking around, and you got to go out and, walk naked, and, and I'm thinking, I'm going to do this, right? And man, for 48 hours that I was there, I didn't even go in the hot springs. I was either on my back or I was on my back, or maybe sitting in a chair looking at the valley, but I couldn't, it was just an immense band of frequencies. I would say more like waves. And so when it got to the end and I was like feeling kind of like inadequate and I failed the universe and mother, I failed you, like I was supposed to get out there and dance naked in the pitch darkness in the middle of the, but they said no. Same thing they said about the mountains, right? Well, it's the same place, right? They said no. You answered the call, you and your sister answered the call. You came here, all you had to do was be here, and we took care of the rest. You don't remember anything, don't worry about it. You got what you needed, and we'll see you next time, kind of thing. So, yeah, it's it's something. We've all been doing this a long time,
Mm.
and we're here. you know. And I think it's interesting that all this, you know, that movie's coming out and all these other, you know, disclosure and all this, it's doesn't have a chance next to the opening heart
Mhm.
frequencies, vibration, return that's happening. It's, you know, it can be said a lot of different ways, but it's the mother's back. And we're seeing it in the sisters like you, first, you know. But it's really here now. I know the feminine in all of us is stepping into her power, and not in a, you know, I'm going to kick your ass way. It's not like that. It's just this powerful, calming presence that enough is enough. And we're all going to remember and feel and live, uh, that which we are, which can be described, you know, like the heart from the heart. Um, and there's no match for it. I don't care about the spaceships and the ETs and the demons and all that. It's all her, you know. And 99% of what we've have to work through or had to work with or continue to work through is our own perception. Um, and it doesn't matter how that happened, you know. It doesn't matter how we got here. What matters is that we've gotten here and we're awake and she's alive. I mean, this is epic, universal, multiversally epic, in my opinion.
Yeah, understatement. And the horse, one of the things about the horse energy is its electromagnetic field of its heart is huge as well.
Mm.
And obviously, it's the year of the horse in Chinese astrology by a horse. So there's a lot of burning through things, like burning through the obstacles, and this year feels really important to me because I'm a fire horse as well. So
Oh, you are.
yeah, and I've never really connected with horses. I'm so loving connecting with the horses. They're such just eye to eye contact with horses is like nothing else. It's like no other animal really, and they're so very clear in their messages. And one of the first ones that I connected with, Sunrise, what you were saying about the excitement of the animals, that's what I was really picking up with her. Was like she was, if she can help me become more telepathic, because it's been there for a while, but I just want to be more fluent with it. I don't want to have to try. I just want it to be kind of more fluent. And she was just really excited to be a part of that and to be a part of what that means kind of planetarily, really, because it's like a lot of us are kind of building these foundations and building the energies so that for other people it's going to be a lot easier for it just to be a natural state of being. But it's like a lot of us at the moment are kind of, yeah, layering some kind of template or something that just makes it a lot easier for everybody to be doing that. And I think it's more common, speaking to the people at the stables, the people who own horses, they're very much feeling the telepathy with the animals as well. And I don't know that they're necessarily on their kind of spiritual path or whatever. Um, and I think it's, I mean, I'm talking about horses, but I feel it is much more widespread as well, and that even the birds, like you were saying, everything just seems to be so much more clear in what they're trying to say to us, and just excited, really.
Mm.
It's like they've been waiting such a long time.
Hmm.
Come on, you lot. They've been waiting so
Yeah.
long for it. And I think the year of the horse as well, especially my horse, it's going to be a significant year. And it's hard to believe that we're already solstice next a week.
I know. Yeah. Put your seatbelt on.
Mm.
It's interesting because right after the winter solstice, Um, well, let me just say this. Like the reason I'm even mentioning this is because of what you've brought up. So it's kind of a weaving. A lot of us have weaved with small groups and so on. Um, but the synchronicities are increasing rapidly, and my understanding is that it's the more open your heart is, the more you're going to see the synchronicities, the more you're going to experience them, and the more telepathy you're going to have, so on. So at the solstice in December, a few days. Oh, that's when I really started to notice the mother, both at the beach and I had like 14. It just happened organically. Like 14 sisters came on in 3 days, right around the solstice. It was very powerful. I noticed they were comfortable in their own skin. I noticed that they were speaking their truth. I noticed something different, right? And so I'm talking to the mother every night. She says to me on the 27th, you're going to have 3 days of darkness, the last 3 days of the year. So you'll come out of it, but you're just letting you know. I'm like, thank you, you know. So at the time, I was doing a weekly show with Gareth Jenkins out of Melbourne. Very, very tapped in dude. Kind of a, I'd say like a cousin of Franco in terms of his intel. That level though. And so next thing I know, I find out he's in ICU uh, on a machine. He's had 5 grand mal seizures, and he's been put in hospital. He was in an induced coma to stop the seizures after 5. Okay, so his friend, my sister, our sister Katie Kiss, sends me a text and says this is what's happening. And as soon as I saw it, my soul just, as it's happening for all of us, this embodiment is real. My soul is me. Took my fingers and took my brain and just typed out, he's going to be fine. He'll wake up in 3 days. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. He had some great intel with it, but I thought that was significant. Now, the 2 previous nights before New Year's Eve, I have dreams about horses. Never happened before. And the second dream at the end, I'm coming down some stairs and the horse is backed up. So I just climb on the horse and we take off and I wake up. Now, the funny thing is February the 7th, when I lost my phone, I had left my phone on like a bench, like a bench where people sit on the plaza, right? But before I went to the plaza, I went to the square in front of the church in this little Mexican town, and there was an artist who had a store, and it was just him that ran it, and he was handicapped, and he was a young man, about 35 years old, and he did all this painting, and some of it was on like coffee cups, and just some kind of art where you must fire it, and whatever you call that, seal it. So I went in there and I found this big coffee cup and I bought it. And then I saw this little kind of like a coaster looking thing, right? But it was ceramic and it had this beautiful, colorful horse on it, right? And if you go to my Facebook profile, that's the profile. Okay. So I got that and then I go and lose my phone. So there's something about the the horse consciousness, the horse aspect, the video I saw 3 days ago where the guy was talking about their electromagnetic, how a horse can pick it up 5 miles away or can connect with you half a world away. Uh, so to me, everything is symbolic and speaking to us. Sometimes it's more through our own, experience, and other times you can start to see the collective message. So I do think that there's a lot to be said for the horse consciousness, the horse aspect, and I say that because I really understand for myself anyway that it's a part of me. So it's really speaking loud. And what is their greatest quality, as far as I can tell, and I'm not an expert, but it's their heart. Their heart is huge.
Mm.
It's like the biggest of the biggest. So that's what's coming online for us. And I've actually been experiencing that since I came back over the border, which was all heart based because I had to have my heart open in case, I had to be open to the Mexicans, rightfully throwing me in jail or the US people, doing something worse. So, I was like, okay, I'm going to work for mom. You know, but when I got back, I went to my hometown. It was Easter weekend. And I went to my hometown and, big Mexican family. A lot of people have moved away now. And it wasn't like a full blown family reunion, but, we were in town. And, maybe a couple other people dropped in. And so we got together with the family that was left there. Well, the entire weekend, everybody was so open hearted. I'd never seen anything like it. I have my cousin and his beautiful wife. They've had a very volatile, colorful marriage and relationship, kids, and the whole thing. And they just had this incredible banter, this love. I'm over at their house having a beer, sitting there talking to them, and they always have this banter, like kind of arguing and stuff. And they had that, but it was something was different. And then she walked out of the room after kind of giving him a hard time, but it was different. It was soft. It was funny. And he just looked at me and said, "Man, I love that woman." And I was like, "Whoa." But I saw other parts of this too. I told this story before, but we were meeting on Saturday night before Easter at this restaurant, and it was going to be 12 or 14 people, so it was a big long rectangular table. My aunt was at the end. My mother was sitting next to her. I'm with my dad. He's got a walker. He's in front of me. These two folks have been divorced for 55 years, 55. It's been very, as most of them are, it doesn't get better after you get a divorce, it just never gets whatever. So anyway, uh, we walk up. My dad puts his walker down, sits down across from my mother. I start to sit down and I hear my dad say, "You look really nice tonight." And my mom's like, "Oh, oh, well, you do too." But there was something about the frequency of it all. It was like all things are forgiven. It was like the hearts are open. Like we're not being our vision's not tainted by the old stories and about the things we couldn't let go. And I thought, what the hell is going? Because it was a whole weekend, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Is it me or is it them? Is it me or is it the field? And I thought, well, there it is, the chicken and the egg. What comes first? If, which kind of leads me, to one of the things that I feel is really kind of setting in with me, and that is don't try to figure it out. Don't try to forecast anything. Being present is being present. And kind of like going to the mountains and thinking I'm going to walk around naked and dance by a fire in the middle of the night, and you don't. I don't know what the hell happened there. I don't know what codes they gave me, but that's kind of the message. If I look back at that Easter weekend, was just relish in it, just be in it, just swim in it, just breathe it. That's it. Everything else is a distraction. The future, the past, the parallels, the movie they just made, the Trump, the this, the that. It's an external, and you guys are all meeting right here. This is where you've always been, so I don't know. There's just seems to be, and I'm not just speaking of myself, but the people that I have the honor of talking to on the show, there's there's an obvious difference since December. There is a really obvious difference. And now that you bring up the solstice, I hadn't even thought about it. But it's gonna be huge. Yeah, no doubt. Thank you.
Um, Colorado. So Texas is known for its crystals in the ground. Is there something about Colorado as well?
Oh, I'm sure there is. I mean, what I know. well, here's a couple things. Well, Texas is Arkansas is, I think, the second biggest crystal, whatever you call it, field vein or whatever in the world.
Mm.
And obviously, I lived there for 2 years as guided. Um, very similar to Mexico. I was there a year together with my partner, and then a year by myself. And we had a Sology Fest on a mountain over there. And that was part of the intel, was that there was some hidden, secreted away crystals that needed to be activated from Atlantis. Um, anyway, so there is that aspect. I think yes, there is certainly crystal beds here. There's also massive mineral deposits, as I understand it. I have researched it some, uh, but going back to what I was going to connect to is I was told a year before I went to Mexico, you're going to Mexico. And I was given all this information, which basically was speaking to the things that were going on underground in Mexico, centered in Mexico City, in the old pyramid, Aztecs and all that stuff. That my presence over there would be in the same regard, that you're going to be doing some grid work there. You're going to be neutralizing these things that are under the ground that are, you know, that we all know are there, right? And so the same thing here. It's like I'm only speaking what I know. I'm not saying it's the gospel truth for everybody. My understanding is that area in Mexico was the largest contingent of its sort, of, let's just say, of a reptilian or draconian nature, something like that. And the same in Colorado is the same thing. And if you look at Mexico, what I was shown there and where that's located is the center of the country, right? So if you look at Colorado, it's pretty much kind of at the center of the country. That's where the continental divide is, right? So, um, what I like about all of this is it's not this Armageddon apocalyptic, hey, all the dark is over there and all the lights over here, and we're going to have this standoff. It's, the intel I'm getting is just show up and go there. Uh, which means like it's almost like it's the same work we've all been doing all this time, but um, it's with more ease and grace. It's softer, it's easier. Uh, and yeah, so I just feel like there's a lot of really powerful signs pointing the same direction, but it's not like a carrot way out there on a stick now. It's like right in front of us. And we're like, okay, this is really happening now. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. And you've been to so many places.
Hmm.
You've really been tying a lot of things together, it seems. Are there any common themes that are coming up in your shows?
I, well, yeah, I've been saying this since, because uh, when I went from the first 10 months in Mexico to the second 10 months, where the second 10 months I was alone, that started on June the 1st and May the 31st, June the 1st. So 14 years to the day, the same thing happened to me. I was like left by myself, and, things were happening. So there were all these things that were shown to me that were revolving around cycles of 14 years was the main one, and 11 years. And then it was like 12, 10, no, I'm sorry, 12, 9, 7, 5, 4, and 2. And to keep my eye on all those, and these would be kind of converging as what I was told was, look behind you, you're going to see the same thing as you look in front of you. But now you'll be able to see it. So to tie that into your question, it doesn't just come in numbers and cycles of dates. It comes in what I'm seeing. And so I'm seeing something that I was seeing 14 years ago, and it started in May of last year when I got back into the groove and started doing, the kind of volume of shows that I was doing for so many years. And that is that people are showing up with their humanity. They're showing up without ego. They're showing up without an ulterior motive. they're showing up with their emotions. They're showing up with everything, warts and all. They're showing up with their humility, and you can tell because they have the grace and the dignity to admit, hey, I was out in left field. And then the universe handed me a platter and said, here, or a kick in the ass, right? I mean, yeah, people are showing up uh, real, I guess is how I'd put it. They're not trying to impress anybody. They're just showing up equally with their humanity and their multidimensionality. And I feel like that's probably the best way I could explain it. Um, and that's what I feel is happening. The heart, it's the heart. It's just another characteristic symptomatic of the heart opening.
Yeah. So do you know what you? If you've said this, I apologize if I've forgotten. But do you know what'll be after Colorado? Or have you not got
Uh,
that?
well, this is what this is what I know. Well, how do I answer that? So I know that I have a duty. I've been shown this. It's my own personal prophecy, I guess. I know that this leg of the journey will end on that weekend. Now, I've been shown and I've been told by others, actually, of who I won't mention because I don't have well, I will say this. As this intel's been coming in about the momentum of Colorado and of this phase of the leg of my journey, several sisters have tapped into it without even knowing what's happening, sending me information that's lining up with. So this above telepathy thing is in written form and in real time, which has made it real easy for me to not go into insecurity and doubt. Um, but my understanding, my feeling is, which is really the better way to say it for me, because it's how you feel, right? That's the only way I can answer a question now is how you feel. How does it make you feel, right? Is it's the end of a leg, a huge leg, a huge part of the journey. It's almost like was one friend's intel, which I don't disagree with at all. I actually resonate with. It's the end of duality. So that weekend in September, which is a 9 month, is a month of completion. It ends on that weekend, which is, by the way, the 25th, 27th, 28th. So it's a 7, 8, and 9 or something like that. So and I have many other numbers of a personal nature that I could point to uh, that are speaking hugely for what I'm telling you now about that time period this summer, as well as 2027. And to bring Franco back into the conversation, if you go back to August and September of 2021, Franco Fridays, uh, you will hear him talking about this time. You will hear him talking about late 2026, early 2027, where we finally get to that point. And he gave different attributes of that time, different characteristics, such as you won't be able to go on Facebook anymore because it won't hold water with you. You're seeing through what you're seeing through. Not to say it might take another form or something like that. You just won't be able to do certain things, not in the way that we used to think and talk about, but just in a very natural, organic way. You're just like, that's not for me anymore. I don't need to be on that schedule anymore. Um, because everything is changing what we might call radically, but I would say it's kind of hard to describe, but I feel like what happens at the end of the September doesn't just happen for me, that we truly are, I fully expect to be walking in an obvious and impervious bubble of high frequency and vibration, which we've all touched on from time to time in our lives, especially over the last 14 years, uh, and to be traveling around the world, uh, doing what we do in a more pronounced way, which is to exchange codes, to revisit, retrace steps, um, to be this new earth, uh, and to gain access to it by a fully open heart and a fully open mind, which means shut the F up and get out of the way and let the soul lead the way, and just to come together. And for a day, for a week, for a communal lifetime or whatever. I really feel like that is the only prophecy I've ever known is my own prophecy. That's it. I mean, I probably said a couple of things here and there when I got charged, as we all do, they're going to land tomorrow. But yeah, I was told when I woke up in 2011, 2012, I was shown videos, how visions are. And it was a contingent of us, that would travel from place to place and basically like the whirling dervishes of the Sufis, just pull up in a bunch of wagons and make a circle and put the art out and the food out and the music on. And this is well, how things, I guess you could say, theoretically, how things are supposed to be, right? How things are, when we're in this frequency band. And I think a lot of people can relate to this because you can feel it coming on, um, because the telepathy is getting stronger, the synchronicities are becoming more frequent, and we're starting to go, oh, wait a minute, this is attached to my heart. It's predicated by the opening of my heart. It's funny. I had an exchange yesterday with my best friend. You know who that is. And we've gone quiet about all that. Just it's pretty obvious. But um, and so they were having a dream, and in the dream, I had like this thing, like this handing out papers to people. And I don't remember the specifics of the dream, but it was like I had these rules, right? And I gave them to her, and she looked at him and she's like, "Rule, like I'm gonna write you back and tell you where you can put those rules." Like, don't tell me. But no, she's in a lucid dream. And I've been saying for a long time, at least again, my own truth, that the dream world and the awake world are merging.
Mhm.
We won't have the reason so many people are having, I'm not saying the only reason, people are having weird sleep cycles and not sleeping. And I believe it's because they're merging. We won't be sleeping. We don't sleep in dimension. It doesn't happen, right? But, uh, but anyway, the point being, in the dream, they said to themselves, "Oh, I'm not going to send this. I'm going to wake up." So when we start to be, this is my point, like one of the, in my opinion, it's not a probability. One of the things that will naturally occur is we will bridge that gap, and we will start to understand that when we were in dream state, yes, there were forces of an astral nature and there was programming and there was tech, and we're overcoming all of this. We're alchemizing many, many things and have been at an unconscious level. I don't care how lit anyone is. Things have been happening that have been beyond our level of remembrance. But now these things are kicking in, and we'll be able to gain full dominion, full sovereignty, full power in any and all moments, because truly any and all moments are meant to be conscious moments. That's the unconsciousness part of it is part of some design of this realm, and you can talk about nefariousness or not, and the all that stuff. But the point is it's not about how we got here. It's not about who did it. It's about we're waking up to this now. And if Denise and Todd, who we know as Denise and Todd, which are not Denise, it's not who we are, right? I mean, it's not the, but it's nice to be these avatars and to be waking up in this primary vehicle. But if Denise and Todd decide, hey, why don't we have dinner tonight down in France in Vienna, you know, boom, This is a real thing. I'm not here for any of this other stuff. I'm here to be my soul in my body with all the attributes that the light body has. And I believe there are many, many people that are in that same level of mindset and consciousness, are very close to it. Um, and I believe everyone that showed up on this earth is a valiant soul, is just as equal as all of us. There's no one to blame. Everybody's innocent, and we all came here to witness and be and experience this time. And there's a whole bunch of souls trying to get here to be as close to it as possible. And many, many channelers, many transmitters have said that over the years. Um, but yeah, this is a very special place, and I feel like that uh, a lot of what we've been doing unconscious to the human aspect is going to come online, and we're going to be going, holy shift, Denise, you're freaking dragon aspect, or you're Faye, I mean, it's all of it. And then that's the crazy thing too, is because there are certain personality traits, to lack of a better way, of our soul that come through in our human. You know what I mean? Like I'm Peter Pan and I'm a producer and I like to bring energy together and, create things. You do what you do and, but that's just this much of it. We're all of it. And so to have that level of, you know, well, one of the best ways I've heard it put is from my best friend, right? Who said, and this is going back a couple of years ago in session, that it's a life review in form. That if you want to describe what's happening to us, it's a life review in form. So what does that mean? Well, you hear these people talk about near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences, and many of us have had it. And in many of those cases, we're shown a life review. And my inkling is that most of those life reviews that are reported are some kind of tech, okay? Because they're judgmental, right? Oh, you need to go back because you did this wrong, and and all that stuff. Well, this life review that we're having is the same. It's what the synthetic tech copied, right? It's it's giving us the insight, because what happens in a life review is you feel everything that your energy hits, thoughts, words, and actions. Your true empathy, right? And so we have that technology now. We It turned on in us. This is us. This is the original organic tech, where the other tech is simulating that, because that's all it can do, right? So I'm able to feel you. I'm able to know if I think this about you, say something that's lesser than nice or whatever, uh, or not, it's going to become a real thing in the field. And you're going to be able to feel it and know it. I won't be able to hide anything from you, and vice versa. So if we can, as we get past the reality of that and the fear of that, because the fear of that is, oh my God, they're going to know this about me, they're going to know that about me. Well, yeah, but we're going to know everything about everybody. So get over it. I am soul is another way to say I'm not afraid to show my ass, because we're all going to be buck naked together in the energetic field. There's nothing to hide. So um, it's a very formidable, powerful, and in my opinion, it's new. It's it's something that we've created by the choice that we made to come here and to go through this. There's some theories that say we didn't know what we were getting into. If I follow Franco, in that regard, is that we all make these decisions together. And as he told the story, back then, um, yeah, we got down to the end of the cycle of cycles, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We got whatever 20,000, 15,000 years to go, and somebody came up and said, "Hey, why don't we take this organic 3D thing. And why don't we flip it so we can get the most bang for our buck going out the door? And you know what? We're all souls, and every single one of us would have said, yeah, let's do that. We've come this far. We might as well just rock it. Yeah, are we going to go through some pain and suffering? Well, that's the design. That's, as I see it, that's the design of the human being. It's kind of like Job in the Bible when, the devil comes in and says to God, he's the most faithful man in the world, but let's take everything away from him, give him boils on his face and torture him and see where his faith is. Well, Job is us. Job is us. And every one of us would have said, yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. Well, the other side of that is you have kind of like what we came into it with. Then we have the Job experience, which, remember, Job got everything back a millionfold, which I believe is speaking to abundance frequency, which is so much more than, material stuff, right? It's love, it's whatever. But what happens is we get to the end of the Job experience, and now because because we've earned it, because whatever you want to put it, we get to the end of it, and we have the knowledge we came in with plus the experience, and therefore we alchemize, we create from both, and we create. It's like remixing history. It's like remixing rainbow colors. It's a special time, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here and to be here with you today, and to be here with all of everybody. Yeah, that's my story. And I just I have a show in 4 minutes,
Okay.
but it's really good seeing you, and I just I just don't know what to say. I can tell you that you're one mirror. But every day I can look at you today. Yeah, I can think about 2019. I can think about so many times we've come together, and you having me on your show for the first episode, the 100th episode. That was a great honor. Um, but I look at you and I see myself, and I feel you in my heart, and uh, and I'm not afraid to say it. And as I understand it, and I serve the mother. That's my boss, and of course, that's a metaphor. That's a connotation, But because as she told me in Mexico, you do realize now that you're me. I'm like, okay, and that's about when all the shifts started. By the way, I think she kicked me out of the nest. But the thing is an open heart is an open heart. Period. And no words have to be said. It's just it's a tech that can't be hurt. It can't be altered. And we're getting the chance to consciously be in an avatar body in a very thick density and do something the universe has never seen before. You know, it's not normal, quote, for a physical human being that is Todd to fly up in the air like Superman. But that shift is coming. I believe it 1,000%. I don't give a damn who tells me I'm crazy. You know, that's what I'm here for. I'm not here for this. Oh, I want to get a house with a red Corvette and da da da. Yeah. Yeah, we're doing good, and you're doing good. And thank you for showing up, and thank you for having me. And I'm going to hit you up because see if I can convince you to come on Soul Speaks.
It would be a
We can,
pleasure. And
yeah.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure to connect again. And thank you to everybody who has joined us, either live or on the replay. I shall have another look at your comments. I've been trying to catch them as they've been coming through. But I will stop the live stream. Just hold on to, I know you've got a show, but just hold on 2 ticks.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.